which I recognize most of you. I wander around, okay? I don't have ADD, but I pretend that I do, so I do wander around a lot, okay? Because I have that much energy, and I'm drinking Red Bull and Sprite, okay? It gives you wings. So, anyway, I'm one of the principals at New Life Developers out of Concord. Been doing real estate since 1996. And I've been doing it for a few years. I won't tell you how old I was at the time. You'll get that later in the presentation, okay? But I was at least 6, okay, in 1996. So, used to operate in 3 different states. Now I'm just here in North Carolina, and yeah, I'm a rocket scientist. So we can do all kinds of things with that, have all kinds of jokes. And I do have more hair than I look, okay? There's hair up there in my mind, okay? There's still hair. So, tonight, here's my contract with you. Your contract to me is you're going to be active and engaging and participate. My contract with you is that I'm going to try to be entertaining best I can, and I'm going to try to give you some good tools, because this is active. This is a dynamic learning environment. We're going to go out, we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to learn. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Everybody good? Okay. James, can you hear me okay? Okay, good. All right. So, and I am going to give you question and answer time as we go. So, if you don't understand something, I don't have to pick on John, because John's going to do it. He can raise his hand, right? You raise your hand, ask a question. This is our meeting together. This is the way we learn. Okay? Awesome. So, let's get started. All right, everybody ready? Got seatbelts on? Pins ready? Okay, awesome. So, why? Who's read the Sinek book? Simon Sinek, right? What's your why? You read that book? If you haven't read it, you should read it. Okay, first nugget, read the book. Okay, you always want to start everything you do with why. Why do I do things? Because when it gets hard, when it gets difficult, you got to lay back on your why, right? Because it's going to suck. It's going to hurt you. Okay, and there's challenges. So if there's challenges, you got to know your why. So why do we do this? Tell me, why would we want to buy real estate for either mid-term or long-term investment? Short-term investment is a flip, right? Short, 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, you're kind of flipping that thing out. But why would you hold real estate for more of a mid or a long-term strategy? Talk to me. Why would you do that? Mailbox money, that's good. Retirement income, awesome. Yep. Why else? Passive income, building equity, that's correct. All those are good things. Am I making this thing shake? Or is it just shaking naturally from upstairs? Okay. All those are good reasons, okay? So, this is what I like to think about when I think about real estate, okay? In a lot of other asset classes, there's only 1 or 2 ways that you can make money, okay? But in real estate, I have several ways that I can make money. Right? I can have principal reduction. What's that? Well, that's when your loan gets naturally paid down. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. When you have a loan, every time you make a monthly payment, the principal goes down, right? Might be just a little bit up front, but that is a natural return on that process. Okay? That's a building block. Tax deductions. I love me some tax deductions. Don't get me wrong. Okay? Jesus said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. But if Caesar gives me a loophole, I'm running straight through it. Okay? That's what we do. All right? Appreciation. Some assets go up, some assets go down. Okay? Some houses go up, some houses go down. But appreciation is another building block. One more method of making money. And cash flow. I'm going to talk to you very seriously tonight. I'm going to share with the hype, because we love hype, we love excitement, but I'm also going to share with the heart. Okay? Because I've been doing this a long time. Without cash flow, you will die. Okay? Without cash flow, you will die. Or feel like that. Okay? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to share some personal experiences with that. Okay? The other thing I love about real estate is it's all negotiable. Okay? Go negotiate when you're trying to buy a share of Walmart. Okay? Just try. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to change the terms if I could, please. Got to pay half now and half later. Could you owner finance that for me? Right? I don't want to pay $64 a share. I'd like to pay $32 a share if I could, please. Right? I mean, this is one asset class that you can negotiate everything. Price, terms, the way you're going to finance it, how you're going to buy it. We're going to put it in an LLC or an S Corp. We're going to buy it individually, right? Am I going to partner with people to do it, right? You can negotiate everything. Is that fair? And y'all probably get that all the time, don't you? I didn't really like the color of that room that you're about to flip to me. Could you repaint that? I just painted it, right? I mean, people ask, right? Right? People ask. I got to ask right now, could you put a garage door opener in here? I'm like, well, I can. Didn't come with a garage door opener, but I can. If you're going to pay $200,000 to put a garage door opener in there tomorrow, right? So everything's negotiable, okay? Love that. But it's all a balancing act, okay? When I'm structuring these deals, when I'm negotiating, when I'm putting this all together, when I'm looking at the building blocks of all these return blocks, right? I have to balance everything. I have to balance the overall return, and I have to balance the cash that comes in, because I can't spend the return account. No, there's some return components I can't spend. Can't spend depreciation, even though I save it on my taxes. Come on, this is all wide open. This is just mine. It can go away. It can go away. But I can spend cash. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay? So it's all a balancing act. And we're going to talk about how to structure these arrangements so that they're well balanced. Okay? Any questions about any of that? We like it? Okay? We like it? Do we like real estate?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I do. If you don't, you just go get something else to drink. You'll like it better. Okay? So this is a fundamental question. This is a fundamental question. When I'm looking at passive income, okay, I'm looking at buying homes, because everybody goes, oh, I'm going to buy me a rental house. Oh, yeah? Just one? Is that going to do it for you? Well, no. Okay, well, how many do you need? Let's roll back a couple months, right? We were talking about goals. In February, we talked about goals. We talked about how do we figure out how many houses I need to flip to meet my goals? Okay? Well, this is the same kind of question in the passive income, right? What are your goals? Where do you want to retire? Is $15,000 enough to retire on? $1.5 million a year enough to retire on? I don't know. What are your goals? Okay? What are your goals? So let's talk a look. So y'all put a number in your head. Get a number in your head. Now, the financial advisors, you know what they do? They downplay it, right? They say, well, so your expenses are going to be less when you retire, and you're not going to need as much, right? So they downplay all that. Well, that's hogwash, man. I want to travel. I want to go spoil my grandkids. My expenses are running up, okay? I want to go into a nice, fancy, swanky retirement home where I play golf and, you know, people serve me at white tablecloths at dinner. We got one right down the street. Right? Love that place. I'd move in there tomorrow, okay? Stock fishing pond, driving range, wood shop. You know, it's fantastic. I'm just still, oddly enough, I know, but I'm too young, right? But James and I were going to be hooked up in there, okay? So how much do I need? Well, check this out. I pulled this off the internet, so it must be true, okay? It must be. Okay, this is the Charlotte household income in 2015. So figure out where you want to be. The median is about $53,000 a year. Okay? Now, if you want to be in that upper percentile, right? Isn't that cool? I love that. All right, in about the top 7%, and you want a greater than $200,000 a year income, we got some work to do. If you want to retire down here at the lower 5-7% and less than $10,000 a year, not much. Okay, but what are your goals? You got a number? All right, so here's the number I chose. Okay, well, let's talk about this. All right, I skipped this slide. I'm going to roll tonight. I'm going to roll with the median. Is that good? Okay, but the examples I use, you can use and pick your number, right? Because you'll see how easy it's going to be to reach your goals. But the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out, well, how do I know when I'm there? How do I know when I have enough? Okay, in 20 some odd years, how many now? 22 years now? In about 22, yeah, April. What's the day? What's the day? 17? So April 6th of 1996, okay? April 6th of 1996, I decided, this is me talking from my heart, Okay? I decided that it was not worthwhile for me to live in the projects beside the local drug dealer's girlfriend. Okay? That's how it happened. That's how this whole thing happened. Okay? Because as a single 26-year-old, I was rolling it out. Okay? I had a $500 car payment and a $395 rent. Because that's how we roll. Right? You know? I could roll up in the parking lot and look like I was rocking it. Okay? But one night, a guy came and knocked on my door and said, "I'd like to talk to you." I said, "You want to talk to me?" Okay, I was a local drug dealer, I knew it. And he hung outside my balcony every night. I'd come out and say hey to him, bring my groceries right past him, everything. And right as I turned out my light, about 10:30 at night, he comes knocking on the door, "I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "You know, I really don't want to talk to you right now. I'm kind of going to bed. You know, we can talk in the morning." I knew that was impossible. I'd be up, he wouldn't. Okay? He's like, no, I want to talk to you. I said, "Listen, we talked to the chain right here. We can talk." And he said, no, I want you to come out here. I said, oh, okay. I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to shut the door, and I'm going to go get my best friend, Mr. Rubin, and I'll come back." That's what I told him. I said, "I'll come back and you talk to him, and you talk about how to deal with him." And he said, "No, don't be that way." I said, "No, that's how it's going to be." So the next day I called my buddy, and I decided, I'm done. So I said, "I think I'm ready to buy a house." I had no idea what that meant, but I was now properly motivated. Y'all deal with motivated sellers? This was one motivated buyer. Okay? I knew I was ready to be out. Okay? And that's what I did. So that was in April. I hit a button. That was in April. By about December, I loved that process of buying a house. I figured this is easy. All you gotta do, find some money, show up, sign a bunch of papers, and you get to move your stuff. It's that easy. By December, I had fixed it. Yeah. Okay? So, now there's some downfalls to all that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But that's where I come from. So, 22 years ago, that's what I was. It was awesome. So, over 22 years, I've learned that this is how you project future income. Okay? Because you can't tell, it's hard to tell what it's going to look like 15 years from now, right? 20 years from now, 10 years from now. It's hard to tell. So you have to figure out today what tomorrow's money is going to look like. And that gets a little complicated. But here's the formula I use. So hold on to your seats here. Okay, it's not hard. If you structure these deals so that they are break-even, meaning there's no extra cash, every month you get a rent check, you pay a bill. You get a rent check, you pay a bill. Why would anybody want to do that? Who's got an answer? Equity growth, what else? Tax write-off. Also, if you can't buy them cheap enough and you have no money, this is probably what it's going to look like. Okay? You're going in no money down. This is how I bought 50 units right here. Okay? I was slinging it. No money down. I'm talking about buying a condo with a credit card. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Okay? It's 26. I was stupid. Okay, but I was having fun. And every month, money in, money out. Money in, money out. I didn't really make a return, real return, until I got to my taxes. And I was like, wow, that is awesome. I protected all of my salary under that thing. Okay? Because I got to write it all off. Okay? But the only way to project your future income then is to look at how much I'm paying on the mortgage. Right? Because I got money in, money out. And part of that money I'm paying on the mortgage. When that mortgage goes away, taxes, insurance stays, right? So the money that I'm not paying the mortgage, that's what I'm going to get to keep. Is that fair? Do you understand that? Okay? So when I'm projecting out my portfolio, if there's no extra cash, it's probably what I'm paying in the mortgage right now. That's probably what I get to put in Hit National Bank when that loan's gone. Is that good stuff? Okay? So, if there's no cash, how do I figure it out? What is it? The mortgage, okay? Okay, the mortgage. So if there's no cash, it's the mortgage. Well, Greg, you just said we're just going to pay some cash flow. What do we get cash flow? What's that coming into play? My hit button's in. Okay? Well, if it's cash flow, if it's cash flowing, then obviously I'm pocketing the cash flow, but I'm still paying the mortgage, right? So it's I use a different formula. And that formula is half of the gross rents. Why half? Got expenses. Okay? Now, John and I, we've talked about rentals before. If y'all ask me about rentals and somebody says, well, man, taxes and insurance are only so-and-so. I'm like, well, that's only part of the equation. Right? Usually I look at the rent, I divide by 2, that's what I get left. Okay? Because there's maintenance, right? There's maintenance, there's taxes, there's insurance, lawn care, turnover costs, right? All this. Y'all own rental property should be nodding your head. Okay? So when I think about how I'm going to retire, I look at my gross rents and I divide by 2. And then I go, do I have enough? Is that fair? Now I'm making a big assumption here, and here's the big assumption. Y'all ready? My big assumption is that the rent is going to go up over time about the same amount as my expenses. And that's a huge assumption, but I have to make something. I can't project what they're going to pay in rent 20 years from now, and I can't project what the taxes are going to be, but I have to imagine it should kind of rise up together. Okay? So when I look at how much I'm going to need in the future, I go, well, if I want to retire, if I need $100,000 to live a year today, right, if that's my number, then if I have $100,000 today, then as the rents go up and the expenses go up, right, then I should be able to live on that same amount tomorrow. Is that fair? Okay? It's going to look a little different. It might be $150,000 tomorrow, okay? But that's okay. Everything else kind of rises up. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? So as I'm looking into the future, my crystal ball, I'm thinking half. Half the gross rents or the mortgage amount, depending on how the portfolio is structured. Does that make sense? This is dry stuff, guys, but this is nuggets. Okay? So look at your rental portfolio if you own rentals and think about that. Do you have enough? Okay? So everybody's got that base, right? Okay. So then let's use that. Okay? So if my target is $50,000, which is the median in Charlotte, median household income, 53, whatever, 50,000. Okay? Then, if that's the half, what does my yearly income have to be for rent? It's on the screen. On the screen. Cheat. 100,000. Right? If I have rents coming in of 100,000, that's assuming there's no debt at this point. Right? There's long term, that's what they're going to actually pay off. Right? And we'll talk about a little bit strategies about, do I really care if they're getting paid off or not? Okay? There's some goals here y'all have to make for yourselves. Okay? Do I want debt or not going into retirement? Okay? And when is that retirement going to happen? Because frankly, if you got 50,000 in debt right now, would you stop? Maybe. If that's your number. Would you stop today still carrying a bunch of debt? Maybe. Right? Okay, good. All right. So, how do I get to that? Look at it. $700 a month. Is that a reasonable rent rate? Might be a little low in some areas, might be a little high in some areas, but it's reasonable. I got plenty of $700 a month. Okay? John's might be $1,000, right? David's might be $1,200. Okay, I use $700. I don't care what the number is. It's just got to be reasonable. 15 years, 12 units. 12 units, $700 a month, 12 months, 12 units is $100,000. Is that a good one? 2 class, 12 units. Okay, could we get 12 units over the next 15 years? 2 class, right? We can do that, okay? And then when it's all paid off, we get to sit back and chill. Okay? Is that good? Is that doable? Now, what if I had 50 units? Okay? If I have 50, what would that look like? Okay, well, I mean, let's double it. Let's go to 24. Well, heck, now I'm at 200,000. Okay? You think you live on 200,000 gross, so 100,000 net? Could you live on that? That'd be worthwhile stopping? 24 units, what about 48 units? Double again. Think you live on that? Okay? About 400,000 a year, 200,000 net. Is that livable? Very much so. Okay? Is it doable? Well, let's say I went from April to December. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay? We're not going to do that. Okay? Because that is just nasty. Nasty growth. In business, there's good, stable, moderate growth. Right? Good, stable, moderate growth is what you want. Right? If you have spikes, you have bubbles, and you have crashes. Is that fair? Who lived through the dot-com bubble? Okay? Nobody? I know y'all did. Y'all did. Okay. Who lived through the real estate bubble? Okay? We did. All right? So there's people in San Francisco, up, boom. Right? Crash. Okay? People that had all kinds of internet stock and all that kind of stuff, up, crash. Same thing. If you start now and you grow up to 100 units this year, before the turn of the year, crash. Okay? It's going to be nasty. Can do it. Can do it. It's going to be nasty. Hard to manage. Hard to manage. So we're going to do steady growth. Okay, so how do I buy 12 units? Start with one. Okay? Start with one. That's how you buy 12. Right? Right? Start with one. So, Lori and I didn't start by doing 30, 40 deals a year. Okay? We started with one. Didn't we? Okay? This year, I don't know, 30, 40, whatever the number is, that's what we're going to do. So, start with one. We take one at a time. And that's how you grow. One at a time. Because, you know what? Life's a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? Okay? But you are going to have some sprinting. Because somebody's going to appear at your doorstep and go, I have this 10-unit package that I really can sell. Would you like it? Well, yeah. Okay? So there will be some spurts like that. And then you might not buy another rental for 2 years or 3 years. Is that okay? Absolutely it's okay. Right? Because you want to manage this stuff. You want to get it all under wraps so that you get used to the temps. You get your people in there. You get everything managed. You get everything so it's stable. Okay? Instead of blowing through it and all of a sudden you got 20 vacancies sitting there because you can't figure it all out. Okay? Your painter's sitting there like this look because he can't keep up. Okay? Right? As you grow, you have to let it settle. All right? Good? Good stuff? Yep. All right, one at a time. So, Greg, where do I get the lunch? Now, who was here last month? Good. Was Caroline awesome? She's awesome. Yep. So, we had this slide up here last time. Generally, where do I get the money? Okay? Because you're going to need some money. For 12 units, I don't care how much you buy them for, it's going to take some money. Okay? $600,000 at $50,000 a piece, $1.2 million at $100,000 a piece, right? It's going to take a little bit of money. Fair enough? Okay? And you can decide, do I want to pay cash or do I want to leverage? Leverage is a technical term for borrowing the money. Okay? So, do I leverage or do I pay cash? That's a big question. But where do I get my capital? Well, the banks, right? That's our first stop. We always think about that. Banks have all the money. Every time I walk into the teller, I'm like, I love hanging around here. Right? I know my teller's my name. Okay? And I'm like, I love hanging around here. They're like, you do? I said, yeah, y'all have all the money. So I just like hanging around y'all. And then they remind me, Greg, we don't have any money here. I'm like, we have a bank. They don't have any money. All right. So, home equity loan. Who's got a home equity loan? Don't raise your hand if you want to. Okay, good. All right, good place, good source, right? Who's got a 401k? Probably not everybody. Okay, IRA, 401k, 1234k, whatever. Okay. Maybe use a solo K. Roll over, take your business, make a solo K, like a self-employment kind of 401k. Maybe use a self-directed IRA. Okay, roll that IRA into something you control. Good stuff. There's pros and cons, right? Then you got to kind of keep the money in there. You can't keep it out, put it in your bank. Okay, that's okay. It helps you get the money. Private lenders, right? Caroline looked at me the other day. She goes, "So you're about to sell the house? I have the loan on. Is there anything else you need me to put the money in?" I'm like, I don't know. Let me think about it. Maybe not. Right? Yes. Okay. Yes, I do. Of course I do. I'll find. Put it right here. Put it right here. I'll take it. Go to Vegas in December. So, how about owner financing? Okay? Owner financing. This is a different one than what we talked about last month. Because, if they own that property, we're going to go buy it. They probably have some equity. Maybe they want to return. They've been renting it probably, maybe. Okay, so they're used to like a monthly pay. Hey, what's up?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right, interrupt away.
I just looked at the Wikipedia definition of the guidance line of credit, and I wish you would tell me what it actually is.
Okay, all right, so yeah, Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge. So a guidance line, we use these in a lot of renovations, right? So you can use this in a purchase and then flip it over, right? In more permanent financing, but it's good for acquisition and renovation, and then you're gonna flip it back out. And so what they do is they establish like, hey Greg, you got access to $500,000, okay? And then they'll say you can do 4 deals in that $500,000, and we don't have to underwrite you at all, okay? But every deal, all we have to do is just do a quick appraisal, and you're in like Lynn, okay? It's a great, next month we'll have to change the agenda just a little bit. Next month is going to be like finance hacks, personal finance hacks. The following month, my bankers who do my guidance line, hit, are going to be here. Okay, is that cool? So you can ask them, hey Greg, this guidance line thing you got going on for? Okay, it's awesome because you get underwritten one time, and that thing's kind of revolving. There's one house sales, you freeze up a house kind of deal, and all you have to do is a quick little appraisal, and you're right. Okay, guidance line. Okay, you can add that to Wikipedia and footnote it for me if you want for me. Just kidding. I don't even know how to do that. I don't have Facebook either. I don't. Lori's my Facebook thing. Where she's got Facebook Live. Hey, yeah. No need to worry about where my personal information is. It's not there. Okay. So why would I want to borrow money? Okay, because this junk's expensive. Okay, you can buy a lot of things. You can buy a share of stock for $10. Okay, you can't buy a house for that. Okay, houses are expensive. I love this asset class, but it's really difficult to jump into if you have zero money. Okay, you got to work at it. You got to network, right? You got to go and you got to talk to people. Okay, because real estate's expensive, and I don't have any money. Okay, that's why we're going to borrow. Is that fair? Okay, because I don't care how much money you have. 10 million. Just pick a number. You don't have enough. Why? Because you're going to want to buy $100 million worth of stuff. Okay? That's why you have 10 million, so you can leverage it like that. That's what we do. Okay? So if you got, if you're a thousandaire instead of a millionaire, if you're a thousandaire, okay, you still need money. And the way you get money is to go borrow. Okay? I want to take advantage of leverage. Okay? Leverage. We love leverage. Because leverage helps us increase the return. We're going to talk about that. Okay? Look at this chart. Now, I changed this up from last month, so look at it again. It's not the same chart. Similar colors. On the left is if I paid all cash. Okay? This is the lowest return you're going to get. Okay? I put all the money in. So if I put 100,000 in, I got 1,000 back. It's 1% return. That's all I get. Fair? Everybody get that math? 100,000 in, got 1,000 back. Let me change it. I put $100 in, I get $1 back. I got 1%. $1 out of 100. Is that fair? Okay? That's the lowest return I'm going to get. However, it's probably the highest cash flow. Look at the top line. The better cash flow is over here. Because as I go up here, my bills get bigger, don't they? Now I have to pay the bank. The bank is whoever. Owner financing, private money. I got to pay the bank. So as I go to the right, I'm getting a better return because I don't have to put as much of my own money in. Instead of putting $1 in and getting 100 back, right? I put in 50 cents. Is that fair? Okay? So my return just doubled. If I go all the way to the right, I am what we call 100% leverage. Can I do that? Can I do it?
Yeah. Yes.
Heck yeah! Heck yeah, get excited about that, because that's awesome. Okay? I've done no money deal in my sleep. Okay? I didn't think I bought on a credit card, I bought a condo. Okay? And that took some convincing. Let me tell you something. Went to like 2 or 3 different banks and said, can I please get a cash advance? I'd like $30,000, please. And they're like, we only give 10. Well, give me what you can. Went to the next bank. I'd like $20,000, please. We can only give you 10. Well, give me 10. Went to the next one. Okay? You ever walk down the bank parking lot with 10 grand in your pocket Makes you a little nervous. Makes you a little nervous, okay? I have the $9 million with me. Yeah, oh, that Mr. Ruger, okay? Makes you a little nervous. And after the third trip, when you got 30 grand in your car in cash, okay? Because my realtor said cash. So I thought literal, like cash. So I showed up to the closing table. This is how dumb I was. I was 26. I was stupid. Okay? I showed up to the closing table at the escrow office with a little bag of $30,000 of cash, cold 20s. Okay? 20s. All right? At the second bank, they had to make a phone call, ring, and they said, oh, they're for you. And they handed it across the teller counter, and they're like, Mr. Lafferty, yeah, you're trying to get more money out. Well, yeah, I have credit, right? Give me the money. And she's like, are you going to the second bank because they can only give you $10,000 first time? I'm like, yeah, give me all the money. Okay? So, crazy I was stupid. Okay? But it was fun. All right? No money down. Rolled in there. Okay? No money down. Credit card funded it. Now, here's the problem. Could I have been over leveraged? Okay? How do you calculate the monthly payment on 30 grand on a credit card? I was 26. I had no idea. In fact, never even crossed my mind to think about it. One arm, one leg, and the firstborn. Okay? I had no idea. All I was supposed to do was round up 30,000, okay, to go buy this condo. That's what I was supposed to do. So I'm a warrior, man. I go out there, I accomplish the mission. I'm done. Right? Got the money. Showed up. Then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I'm going to pay that bill. Woo, that was a little steep. That intro rate does expire. Okay? Especially on the cash advance. Woo! That little project. So, you can just imagine, okay? Lessons learned. But you can do no money down. But here's the deal. Do we know how to buy real estate? Do we know how to buy?
Yes.
Do we pay retail?
No.
No. Do we pay more like wholesale?
Yes.
Do we take into account any kind of repairs?
Yes.
Okay, because that's my full cost, right? So you treat a buy and hold just like you do a flip, okay? Just like it. Except you got this other little piece. Instead of the ARV, you're really looking at the rent rate, okay? Right? You feel me on that? There is an ARV involved, because you don't want to be too overvalued, okay, for the market. But in the end, you can borrow 100% and not be over leveraged. But my goodness, people, if you pay too much, you're going to be over leveraged. Okay? So that's my word to the wise. Okay? So you want to know what over leveraged looks like? You want to hear about over leveraged?
Yep.
Okay, here's over leveraged. So in my office is a little nondescript binder. Okay? It's on a bookshelf. It's called Financial Statements. And tomorrow Lori's going to run to it after the story. She's going to open it up. Okay? It's been untouched for probably, 10 years. Okay? Haven't added anything to it. But 22 years ago, I had a handwritten piece of paper in there of all my liabilities. Like $30,000 on a credit card. Probably, $15,000 on carpet, okay? At a little carpet outlet that I buy on carpet. Sherwin-Williams, all. Because, this was not bad debt. This was good debt, right? This is not TVs. I'm not talking about wide screens and rims, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about investment debt. So we're talking that good debt is good, right? Good debt is good as long as you pay the bill. Right? Bad debt is bad no matter what. Okay? Don't put a TV on a credit card because it's never going to make you money. Okay? If you want to buy something with debt, make it make you money. The problem that I missed was it was good debt in a bad organization. Okay? Bad structure. So after all that, I probably had, I don't know, the fish gets bigger with time. So, the fish was this big. Call it $75,000. I don't know. $75,000 in fairly unstructured debt. Unstructured. Like, I still had mortgages on the properties. Because what I would do is I'd go in, I'd fix them up, I'd refinance, pull all the cash back out, and I'd walk down the road. I'd never pay off the credit card. Ooh. That was what you call a rolling snowball. Okay? As long as you kept the snowball rolling, you're okay. But once that train stopped, there's a big old caboose about to hit you in the backside, okay? Because you're pulling that thing down the track at 100 miles an hour, okay? And every deal was the same way. In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, right? And what I left behind every time I stepped out of a deal, I left behind a very heavily leveraged property, okay? So no cash flow at all, $50. $50 was about $75,000 worth of bills, okay? That's what I'm talking about. So, you ever seen the man on the tightrope? Okay? I'm not built for a tightrope, okay? And I was walking a tightrope every day. Every day. Meaning that I would take a credit card and pay off the other credit card, right? You take cash out of this one to pay the bill, not to pay it off, I'm talking about just to pay the bill, okay, on this one, right? It was a shuffle. Y'all feel me? Okay? So be careful. This is my heart. You can go out and you can listen to the internet and you can look up on YouTube and you can see people that said, oh, I bought $50 million in real estate my first year. Okay? Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay. Ride that tightrope, baby. Okay? But if you do it smart and you buy them right, even fully leveraged, you're okay. But you need cash flow. Because as soon as you close on it is when the roof's going to leak, the hot water heater's going to go out, and the tenant leaves, you need a new carpet. Right? Feel me? Okay? Now I just accumulated about $7,000 worth of charges on $50 a month. Fair? And if you don't pay the bill, you can't get it re-rented. Okay? So you got all that going on. That's from my heart. That's not the hype. Okay? Cool? Ready to go? Too much on that? Okay. But you love it. It's cool stuff. Okay, so I call that book, circle back. I call that book my God book. Okay? Because I look back at that and I go, wow, I was in a jacked up mess. Okay? But I got through it, didn't I? I got through it. So all that's gone. Now I had to work super hard. I had to work 2 jobs, whatever it took. Okay? Everything I sold in real estate, everything I did, it all went back to that. Okay? And then as I started to sell those properties and roll them back over, I was making a little profit and I could take it and buy a new one. Okay? And so that was 22 years ago. So I can always look back and see from whence I came. So don't overdo it. That's the lesson. Don't overdo it. Leverage is awesome, but cash flow is amazing. Cash flow is amazing. You can do a lot with cash. Do we live on assets? Do we live on assets? What do we live on? Open up your wallets. What's in there? Besides plastic and receipts. Who's got some cash? Okay, we live on cash, right? We live on cash. That's what I tell my stockbroker all the time. I'm glad I have those shares of stock. Now, how do I spend that? Okay? How do I spend that? I live on cash. I don't live on shares of stock. I live on cash. So generate me cash. Right? Can't pay my bills with stock. So we got to make sure when we structure these deals, we're going to yield enough cash flow. Is that fair? Did I pick that horse enough? You all good? Don't stick Pete on me. I do big horses like this. Okay? No peanut. Okay? But the goal in all this, guys, is not to have to feed the property. Right? Anybody had to feed a property before? Okay? Right? So that means that if you don't pay the bills with the tenant's money, who has to pay the bill? You. Bills has to be paid. Okay? But if you have enough cash flow when you structure the deal, it's all about the structure. I buy it right. I put just the right amount of debt in it. I can charge the right amount of rent. It all works out. Okay? It's the structure of the deal. If the deal doesn't structure well, get out of it. You don't need it. Okay? So let's talk about that. Who wants to learn some good structures tonight? Good? All right, we'll have some structures. All right, so, hey, look, we can do it simple, right? You can go buy it and go to a bank and say, you know, I really like a rental property, and I'd like to put about 25% down. I'd like you to carry the first mortgage. Is that okay? Can you do that? Okay, could they do it? Yeah, maybe, right? I mean, there's chances that they won't. Okay, they've got all kinds of rules. Like you have to have a credit score, okay, of some level, okay. I don't know what that is, 600, 700, whatever it is. Okay, you got to have a certain credit score. Hey, I love an 800 credit score. Okay, pay your bills, get your score up, work it out. I will tell you though, from personal experience, the better your credit score, the better your options, right? I talk to my teenage boys all the time. Never close a door that limits your options in the future, right? Never say you're not going to college when you're in 8th grade. Okay, never say that. Just keep your mind open. So pay your bills, work on your credit score. You don't know when you're going to be in front of a bank negotiating on a multi-million-dollar transaction. It's going to go, I'd love to help you, man. It's a great deal, but your credit score is 600. Okay? You just limited your options. Okay, so work on it. Okay, now, listen. We've run across some investors more recently. They tried to go the FHA route. Okay? Because FHA will lend you on an investment property. You can get a, I'm keeping you away. You can get a primary home, you can get a second home, maybe 1 or 2 investment properties, and then they go, you're out. Okay? So if your whole plan is organized around getting bank financing and getting an FHA loan with 3% down or 10% down, whatever it is, okay? Can't do it. Okay? Take that up. We're talking about 12. Okay? Now you might be able to buy your first 2, and that's all good. Okay? So don't take it off the table, don't limit your options, but don't count on it. Ask the question. When you sit down with the banker and he starts to nod his head or her, okay, she starts to nod her head, yeah, I think we can do that. Okay, great. So you're going to be like my long-term partner, or is this kind of relationship only good for 1 or 2 houses and you're done? Just go and ask the question. And they're going to say, well, yeah, we can probably do 1 or 2. Okay, great. I'll take my 1 or 2, please. Yeah, can I get fries with that? Okay, and then go buy one. Okay, right? Take it for what you get and then move on. But just understand there's other options out there. How about a second mortgage? Anybody ever done an 80-10-10 before? You know what that is? Okay, so here's the nugget. Here's the nugget. All right, so even on your personal residence, who hates PMI? Who knows what PMI is? Okay, private mortgage insurance. If you don't have 20% equity or whatever, they're going to slap you with this extra charge, whatever that percentage is, whatever those charges are. Okay, just go, well, that's great. I hear you. I just want 80%, and I want to put a second mortgage on top for 10. So then the primary mortgage is only at 80%. So no PMI. They might charge you a little bit higher interest rate, but no PMI. Little nugget. I've done that several times. Okay, you can also get an owner to participate in owner financing at the other 10%, right? So I come in with 10, the owner puts up 10, the bank gets 80. Fair? Is that a good one? Saves you 10 points on the down payment, right? I've done that multiple times. Okay, that's good stuff. Or how about a wrap? Who knows what? That kind of wrap, okay? Who knows what a wrap is?
You mean like a subject to?
It's kind of like a subject to. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's a difference, okay? Because subject to is a different line, so it must be different. Okay? A wrap is where you actually pay the owner directly, and then the owner pays the bank, and they keep the difference. Okay? So what the owner will do is they'll put like a wrap mortgage for their equity and everything on it, right? And then they pay their mortgage behind the scenes. So they get the interest difference because they might have a mortgage at 4%, right? At $80,000, they're going to sell you the house at $100,000 at 6%. So they make an extra 2 points on the bank's money, and then they make the whole 6% on their money. Is that fair? That's a pretty creative little scheme. Okay? This is how we also do our owner financing. When we sell, I got an investor underneath, and I wrap mine on top. So I collect the money from the buyer, and then I pay them, and I get to keep the difference.
Who's on D?
Huh?
How do you write that? Who's on D?
Who's on defense?
Yeah, that's it.
So, who's on the D? I thought you said who's on D. I'm like, go team. The buyer is on the D. I'm on the D when I buy. Okay, but then there's 2 notes, right? There's still 2 notes. There's one from me to you, and then one from you to the bank.
Okay. So
Okay.
It's completely separate, not like subject to.
No, it's not subject to. It's subject to, I'm paying the bank. The owner steps away, right? The owner steps away, and I'm paying the bank. Now, there's trust on both sides, right?
Right.
It's subject to, the owner's trusting me to pay the bank because they're not relieved of the obligation. In a wrap, I'm trusting them to pay the bank. Is that fair? Okay? Because I'm giving money to them. Okay? So it's just a little different twist. Now what about an assumable loan? Do we have assumable loans anymore? See if I know? Okay. FHA do not have a due on sale clause typically. So FHA loans are assumable. However, they're terrible for investors because unless you're prior to 1989 and all this kind of stuff, it mostly has to be a homeowner to buy it. Okay? But here's the trick. Okay? Don't you like living in places? If you're young and mobile, never mind. All right, so now listen. If I was 26 again and single, this is what I would do. You know what I'd do? I would go out, I'd find an assumable FHA loan, I'd step in. I'd live 2 years, I'd move. I'd do it again. Because I could then sell it and qualify for my tax exemption 2 out of the last 5 years if I wanted to. Right? 2 out of the last 5 years is a home ownership exemption for capital gains. So I could do that, or I could keep the loan in place, I could move on. That's what I would do. The other thing I might do is I might buy a duplex and I live on one side, rent the other side out. That's kind of how I got into rentals, because when I bought my little first house, I rented a room out. So I rented that 1 bedroom, access to the whole house, we split groceries, whatever, $400 a month. My house payment was like $6. I was rocking it again. I loved it. Okay? Right? And I said, this rental stuff is cool. Right? He's paying for my house. So let's see if I can get 50 others just like it. Okay? It's awesome. So yes, it can be assumed, but it's rare. The other thing is some of the assumables that are easy to step into were like prior to 1989. Do you think they have a lot of life left? There's a lot of equity you got to deal with. Okay? You cannot step into a assumable loan, no money down, with a lot of equity. Why? You got to pay the owner, right? Right? So let's say he owes $10,000 on a $100,000 house. Does that really help you to assume the loan? I got to come up with 90 grand somehow, right? So I might as well just go and do something different. Okay, try another strategy. If he owes $95,000 and you're paying him $100,000, that's a great deal, right? I'll pick it up. Okay, that's a great deal. Because now I only have $5,000 I got to figure out how to pay him or her, and I'm going to assume the rest of the loan. That's how it works. Okay? All right. This other one. Buy with a plan, a pre-planned cash out refi. This is my credit card deal, right? Right? What if I buy, renovate it, rent it, refinance, and repeat? Okay? You'll see this on the internet. It's called the BRRRR principle. BRRRR. Right? BRRRR. Okay? Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. It's a great little technique. I used it all the time when I was first starting out. Okay? Because I go in there and buy it on the cheap, nasty, clean it up, paint it, carpet it. In 2 weeks, I had a tenant in there. I was working my tail off. Okay? Working my tail off. 2 weeks, I had a tenant in there. Another 2 weeks later, I would have that thing refinanced. Can you do that today? Not like that. Okay? Most lenders have a seasoning period. So when you're talking to these lenders about, like, how many can I do? Right? Ask them. What's your seasoning period? If I own a property, right? How long did I have to own it before you will consider a new appraisal? A new appraisal. Because otherwise they're going to look at the cost you paid for it, and that's how much you get credit for. That's nothing. I don't care about that. Because I'm going to buy it at the wholesale, right? So I don't want to look at it wholesale. That's terrible. Okay? I want it to appreciate, right? I want to put some money in it. I want to fix it up. I want to naturally appreciate it back up to retail. And I'm going to get a retail appraisal. And they're going to get, then I'm going to get an 80% of that. Okay? Which hopefully is more than I've got in it. Right? Y'all follow that? Right? If I get it to appraise, so that by the time they give me 80% of that number, if that's more than I have in it, or 75% if they're going to give me cash, because there's two different numbers, I'm going to pull that cash back out and I'm going to roll down the road. Fair? Is that a good nugget? Yes.
Just one question. When you get it reappraised, it has to be 5 units or over.
Yeah, so when you're looking at the appraisal, they're probably not going to do an income approach, right? So they're going to look at the general market, which is back to your ARV, right? It's a true ARV.
Determine how much you're making per month, below a certain number of doors, it's just gonna be.
In 1 to 4s is like a 1 to 4 unit. That is like a retail, kind of people just generally like a house, a single house. Anything 1 to 4, they consider it like a single family. Okay? When you get into, they call it the retail side of the bank. If they go 5 or more, 5 units or more, now you're in the commercial bank. Okay? And now you're looking at commercial appraisals and looking at income approach and all that stuff. If they're 1 to 4, they're going to look at it like a house. Okay? Which is your normal kind of stuff.
Sorry, second question. If you've got a bunch of money doors, is there a certain number of
Yeah, so that's a great question. Every lender data is different, and in my experience, going back to those couple investors I mentioned that were trying to do some FHA type stuff, okay, that's all fine, and they can do that, and that's okay to start. But where you really need to go is you need to go to a commercial banker, and you need to take the commercial banker to lunch. Okay, the commercial banker needs to know you. Because, and your conversation might sound like, I'm not here yet, but I'm going to be. Okay? It might sound like that. Because here's what's going to happen. Is that if you don't start buying commercial properties like 5 or more, the retail person is not going to understand you anymore. Okay? They're going to say, you know what, you have too many. We're at our limit. Sorry. Right? I can only give you 2. Or, hey, I can only give you 2 FHA, but I can give you maybe 2 or 3 more under a conventional loan. Okay? But you're gonna meet a cap. And they're gonna say, I'm sorry, we can't help you anymore. Okay? And now you're exposed. Because here's what's gonna happen. A bank regulator is gonna come in and they're gonna say, you know what, you got way too many 1 to 4s in here. Okay? That's what happened during the recession. Way too many 1 to 4s in the bank's portfolio. Okay? Because if they can't sell them back out in the FHA, right? They can't sell it out in the market, they hold it conventional. Okay? Now you're in a different world. Okay? Now you're exposed because if you're on a 5-year renewal, what's that? Anybody out of 5-year renewal? Know what that is? Okay, here we go. All right, nugget. In lending, a lot of times they'll say, hey guys, I'm going to give you a loan. And it's a 15-year loan, but every 5 years we're going to open up your underwear drawer again, and you're going to give us all this documentation, and we're going to decide if you get to keep our money or not. And we are probably going to change the interest rate on you, just so you know. That's a 5-year renewal. It's not an adjustable rate. It's not an orange. It's totally different. Right, James? Your retail buyers out there might get adjustables. Hopefully not. But they might get adjustables. This is not an adjustable rate. This is a true underwritten process. Okay? And the tighter you are with your commercial banker, the better that process goes. Fair? Okay? It's relationships. This whole business is built on relationships. Everybody understand that? Okay? So you want to be able to walk in there, and you want to be able to have lunch with a commercial banker and go, I just want to see it, kind of see if what my goals are fit with your goals. What are you guys trying to do? Lori hears this conversation I have with bankers all the time. Right? Okay? Where I just sit there and go, I put it on the market board. Here are my goals. I brought several of them in January. Right? Because I made my goals. Didn't y'all make your goals? Right? So I wrote them on the board. I said, here are my goals for 2018. Where do you want to play? What's good for you? What lines up with your goals? Good conversation to have, right? And now I'm going back through, and as we're starting to get those goals done, I'm calling them back in. Hey, I'm ready for you. You're up to bat. Okay? Does that help you, David? I know I kind of went around my elbow, but okay, it's good stuff. All right. So to buy with a plan, cash out refi, that's good stuff. However, remember, this is a leverage risk, right? Because I could over leverage at this point, right? I might have spent too much in the rehab. Who's ever done that? Right? Who's ever, go ahead, confession is good for the soul. It's okay, we're honest here. This is a safe zone, okay? So, okay, but that is a risk. Okay? What about partnerships? Right? Partnerships are good. I like the partnerships where like they put up the money and I own it. Okay? I love that kind of partnership. You put up the money, I own the property. How about that? What a win-win. Win-win, win-win. Okay? So the partnerships are great. However, here's what I want to tell you. Okay? And we're going to talk about this in a minute. But real estate is all about percentages. Okay? I met a group of investors maybe about a year or so ago. It was like 3 guys, kind of neighbors, buddies. Okay? Good folks. Well, they're all just buying these single-family houses together and then splitting them by 33% and a third. Okay? What good is that? Who's winning? You might as well just each buy one. Right? It's a percentage game. If I own a third of 3, that's 1. So why do I want to deal with a partner? Okay? You gotta find partners that bring value. Okay? Find partners that bring value. So they're each getting a loan. So I got a loan, you got a loan, she got a loan for the 3 houses. Okay, I got a loan, and then I gave away 66% of the ownership. But in that one, she got a loan, and I got 33%. What difference does it make? Get a loan on the whole house. Okay? That just didn't make sense to me. And I tried to explain it to them, but they'll catch it. Okay? But find partners that bring value. Either they have a network that you don't have, okay? Or they have money that you don't have. Okay, that's good stuff. But, partnerships, great way to get creative. Okay, because a partnership doesn't have to be even on the money, does it? Does a partnership have to be even on the money? No, absolutely not. It has to be a win-win. I like win-wins, but not to have to be even. How's that? That's good redneck speak. Even and win-win. Okay? So when you're at a meeting at the bank, everybody starts talking about win-wins. You say, what about even? Okay? All right. So because I might, for no of my own money, why don't I keep 20% of the deal with no money? I'm bringing expertise. I might bring management. I might bring all kinds of good stuff to the table, and they bring all the money and keep the other part. Is that fair? Right? That's a win-win without an even. Right? It's good stuff. All right. So, after I have... Keeping you awake. I'm sorry, I'll talk faster. Should I talk faster? No. Talk faster, talk slower. If you slow it down, the energy of the room drops. Did you know that? But if you talk faster, it gets better. Okay? So I'm going to talk about faster. Another Red Bull. All right. So now what? I have one. Now I am a real estate investor. I have one, right? Until then, we're just pretending, okay? Once you own a house, you've now made an investment. You are an investor, okay? Until then, we're pretending like we're investors, and that's good too. We can all pretend, but let's go invest, okay? I don't own a share of Microsoft till I buy it. I don't invest in Microsoft till I buy a share. Now I'm a real estate investor. Now what? Okay? And you know what, guys? What is next? How many people want to read? Anybody count? 33. There's 33 different options. Right? Everybody's different. Lori will tell you, I change my mind like you people change socks. Okay? So my goals change all the time. Well, maybe you don't change socks very often. Okay? So, granted, but roll with it. Okay? I know he doesn't change his socks. All right, so, are you wearing socks? All right. I was going to say underwear, except for Lori has got me on a mouth filter tonight, so I'm trying to be better. Okay?
And you said
so
it
if I
anyway.
change underwear,
You went
change
there.
socks. Just so you know. All right. We're not going to ask if you're wearing underwear. All right, here we go. All right. Because Lori's embarrassed already. And I didn't even say whether I was or not. That's a secret. All right. So the next step is goal driven. Okay? Because you know what? If one meets my needs, that's all I need, right? If one meets my needs. If it doesn't, then what next? Okay? Do I want cash flow? Obviously the answer is yes, but do I need it now? Okay? If Bob Tierney was here, I was going to pick on him. Okay? Because he's older. Like I said, Bob needs cash flow today. Okay? Because he's already retired from IBM. He'd like a little extra cash, so if y'all just give him some, that'd be awesome. Okay? So, cash flow, I'd want to pay off debt. If I want to get the cash flow quick, I got to get rid of the debt. Now, do I use my own money? Not really, because I'm diluting my returns. I might as well bought it with cash, right? I want to use the tennis money as much extra as I can. I might only structure the deal at half down, half dead. Okay, right? Just depends. But any extra cash flow I get, I'm paying that puppy down. Is that fair? Okay? If that's my goal. If my goal is growth, well, I've got to figure out how to get to my next deal. Okay? And that might be some restructuring. I might have stepped in on this one in private money. Okay? Now I got to get this thing on permanent money, right? And get out. So it might be that I brought a private money lender, I bought it, I fixed it up, I refinanced it with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, somebody, and I'm out of there. Okay? Pulled all my cash back out, made my private money whole, and now I'm ready for the next deal. Everybody feel that? Okay? Now listen. Remember, manage the debt and the cash flow. If you walked into the deal and I did a bunch of repairs and I did all kinds of stuff and the rent did not go up, chances are pretty good I might be over leveraged here in a minute. Okay? So you got to be careful. Because if I tie it down with either a cash refinance and pull it back out, or I hit it with a secured line of credit, what is that? Do I know? What's the secured line of credit? It can be that, but if I secure it against the real estate, it's secured against the real estate. It's like a second mortgage on your house, or home equity line. Okay? But you've got equity now in this property. If I don't want to do a full cash out refinance, maybe I'll just drop a second mortgage on it. Boy, you people are sleeping. I mean, y'all just look at each other. Y'all be going together. Okay? I know it's contagious. And watch this.
That's just you smiling.
All right, now watch. She didn't even look, so it's not going to happen. All right, here we go. All right, so just be careful, because here's what happens. Here's what happens in the math. And I'm a rocket scientist, so you don't want to pay attention because I've done the math. Trust me, have I done the math? I've done the math. Okay? If you pull it in a cash refinance or you put a second loan on this thing, what did I just do to the down payment of my next property? I borrowed it. I borrowed my down payment. Who likes to borrow a down payment for anything? Okay? But that's what we just did. So we just doubled down on this property. Okay, right? Because now I've got two houses that equal better than two houses. Okay? Right? When 1 and 1 is greater than 2, here's the meaning of that. Let's say I was making $100 a month cash flow on one. Just pick a number. I was making $100. I just pulled out and leveraged that thing, right, to go buy another one. That's making $50 a month. Did I get better or worse? Worse. Okay? So be careful. I want to make a move when I'm going to improve my situation. Okay? I want to make a move when I'm going to improve the situation. Otherwise, don't borrow your down payment. Is that fair? Okay? So that's the short-term look. The long-term look looks a lot like this. Oops, wrong way. Where'd I go? If I, where is this slide? The other option is to sell and take the equity and roll it up. Why would I do that? I've got a performing property. Why would I sell? Cash. All my equity's in there, right? So if I roll it over into another one to improve my position, that's okay, right? I didn't borrow that equity. It's cash now. Does that make sense? I drew equity by the principal going down and the appreciation going up. Is that fair? Okay? And I take it and roll it. My goal in there, this is a nugget. The goal is to double the asset value. Why? It's the same amount of equity. So I make more money. I want to double. There's a cost to buy and a cost to sell. Who knows that? You ever done your little deal analyzer? There's costs on both sides, right? So if I'm going to sell something, I better make a good step, right?